Only the Devil Lives Without Hope je veoma snažan film o uzbekistanskoj aktivistici koja pokušava stupiti u kontakt s bratom koji je zatvoren pod optužbom za terorizam. No suštinski, ovo je životni triler o ljubavi, o izdaji, špijunima, ubicama i nesalomljivoj nadi. Imamo priliku razgovarati s rediteljem ovog filma. Magnus Gerten je s nama. Magnus, welcome and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
What's the latest update on Iskandar's case? Has he been released yet?
Yes, he has been released. The film was finished in the spring of 2020. And we had this COVID-19 premiere. And then he was still in prison. He was transferred to a better prison than the horrible torture prison that we are showing in the film. But he was finally completely released last autumn in August, September. And the bad thing that happened then was that they had a COVID-19 pandemic also in Uzbekistan. So he contracted the COVID-19 disease. So we were very worried at some point that he might, after 20 years in prison, he might die in COVID-19. But luckily everything went well, and now he's living in Tashkent. It's a complicated life to live there because you are still monitored by the regime, and it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, I'm sure of it. How did you meet Dilya in the first place? How did you learn about her story?
You know, I was shooting a film from Kyrgyzstan, a migration story in 2007, 2008. And we heard so many stories from the neighbor country, that is Uzbekistan. So I thought at one point, I really want to do a story about Uzbekistan, where at that point was some kind of a mix of North Korea and KGB Soviet. So I thought I need to do something, but then I had so many other films to do, and then I had this very personally very complicated situation that had 3 premieres in 3 years, and suddenly my brother came into hospital. He later died, my younger brother, of something that reminds us of the COVID-19. And I was quite devastated. I didn't have any new projects, and I was looking for something to do, because that's what you do, and that's my therapy as a filmmaker. So then I was thinking about Uzbekistan again. Maybe I could find something. And then we were Googling around, and we found this woman who lived in Sweden who had a brother in a very, very difficult prison. And I just met her by chance. So I met her, and she told me the story about her brother, and she showed me the only image of him, the only photo she had left of him, and she had not heard anything for 9 years from him. And I thought it might be a fantastic story, but I'm not sure if I can sell the story into a market. But then she said, there's one more thing I want to tell you. It's about the man I met. And then she told me the story about the man she met, who turned out to be someone completely different.
Oh my God.
And then I realized, okay, maybe
we have a story.
I have a film. And then my first question to her was, do you still have the footage from your wedding? And then she said, yes. And then I thought, okay, now I have a film.
Well, I was about to ask you, was it hard to convince her to make this documentary, since it was not only about her activism, but very private part of her life as well? But here you go. For you personally, what was the most shocking or emotionally challenging part of Dilya's story? What's that? What would be?
I mean, she has a super rough story, and we have not told everything in the film either, because it would be completely full of torture. I mean, for instance, the parents were involved in torture situations, and they had relatives who had been killed, etc. So we had to pick out actually some of the worst things, because it will be too much for the viewer. But no, I mean, Dilya is so brave, and I think she had this need of telling her story. It was like a therapeutic session for her, and very strange. and I decided that she was going to tell the story in her own language, which is Uzbek, and I don't speak any Uzbek. So in a way, it was a very much of a therapy session. I was listening. I didn't really understand what she was talking about, but she could open up completely and tell me everything. And I think she was so brave that she was able to tell me all these things about being beaten by a husband, by being deceived. I think she needed it, and the only thing for me was to take very well care of her story. That was the most important thing for me, the responsibility for me as a filmmaker.
You have managed to collect some very, very explicit footages, such as murder of Abdullah Buhari in 2014 in Istanbul. How challenging was it to find such material, and have you had doubts using it to make this piece, since your documentary proves that Uzbek's government has its links out of the country? Do you fear for your safety because you made this?
We had some concerns in the beginning, not as much for me, but mostly for Dilia. But then we had this regime change that President Karimov died. And most of the things that happened, the worst things, was during the Karimov time. And so we felt that, okay, the safety issues are not as big when we have a new regime that are trying to clean up their image, they're trying to connect to the EU and to the United States, etc. So then we were a little bit more relaxed. But for 2 years, we were very secret about the project.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. I wish you very good luck with this project and all of you new projects you are going to make. Thank you.
Thank you so much.